Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's iOS Update. This time out, a tip for directly routing audio from your iOS device into your Mac computer. Let's get started. One of the challenges we face when we're using audio apps on our iOS devices is getting the audio out of those apps and into our computer so we can use it in a DAW to work on compositions there. Now, there are typically several ways that you can do this. You can export the audio out of the app and send it via Dropbox, or email it, or load it through iTunes back and forth between the computer and the iOS device. Or you could use a device like an iConnectivity audio interface for routing audio directly between the two. But if you don't want to export the audio out of an app, you want to be able to play directly from your iOS device into your Macintosh, I've got a tip today that'll let you do that. When Apple introduced the El Capitan operating system for Macintosh, they included a feature called inter-device audio. Now, this allows you to connect an iOS device directly to your Mac using a Lightning to USB cable and route it straight into your DAW. Here's how simple it is to make this work. Simply connect up your iOS device. We're using a Lightning to USB cable. And now we're going to open up Audio Midi Setup. Now, Audio Midi Setup, under Window, we can show iOS device browser. If you have an iOS device connected, in this case I've got an iPad connected, you can enable it here, and it will show up as two inputs here in Audio Midi Setup. Now, in some cases you'll be able to route directly just using the inputs from the iPad straight into your DAW, but most DAWs like to see the inputs and the outputs coming from the same audio interface. So in this case we need to create an Aggregate I/O. We've got an Aggregate I/O going here already. We've got our built-in outputs, but we have no inputs. To turn those on, we'll simply select Aggregate I/O, turn on the iPad, and now we have two iPad inputs as well as our built-in audio outputs. Now when we open up our DAW, we'll go ahead and launch Studio One. I've created a new song in Studio One, and what I want to do here is select my I/O, open this up, and tell Studio One that my audio interface is the Aggregate I/O. And once that's set up, we'll be able to look at our inputs. Here we've got our inputs coming from our iPad, and we've got our outputs, which are the audio outputs that are built into our Macintosh. Now at this point, when I play ISEM from Arturia here inside my iPad, the audio will come directly out of the Lightning connector into the Macintosh via USB, and then it's routed using that Aggregate I/O into Studio One in our song. So you can see the meters are moving here in Studio One. If we record this, now when we play back from Studio One, the audio is on our track. And this works with any app that you're running inside your iOS device. In this case, I've got Arturia's ISEM, but you could have a drum machine, you could have a DAW running inside your iOS device, any type of synthesizer, bass synthesizer, anything that creates audio will route directly through and into your DAW. Now, there can be some issues with latency, so you may need to slide the track back and forth in time a little bit if you're trying to align it with existing tracks inside your DAW, but it's still an awesome solution for quickly and easily getting audio directly out of your apps and into your Macintosh. One other thing I want to make you aware of before we're finished up here, and that's that there's a free app available for the Macintosh called iOS Audio. It installs a little application here into the menu bar. You can open that up, and here's where you can see your iPad as well. You can disable that, which disconnects it, or enable it, which reconnects it. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's iOS Update. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more apps, more hardware accessories, and more tips on making music with your iOS devices. I'm Mitch Gallagher.